fairly short notice, but I thought that it would be helpful to everyone to hear more about the innards of this legislation and what cities are going to be receiving, counties, uh, and the different parts of the bill. And then, well, I should say the law, because the president signed it into law yesterday. Uh, this is this is approximately $1.9 trillion. So it is sweeping, it's comprehensive, it's large because the needs across the country are very large. And I think I'm preaching to the choir to this group because you're all on the ground dealing with this day in and day out. So I'm so really grateful to you. Do we have any idea, Matt, how many people have joined us?
So we have about 31 participants
right.
So far.
Okay, so why don't I begin, and then the others will join us. And I want to have time to take as many questions as possible. We do have press that's on board, and I'll take questions from them, but I'll take their questions last. So welcome everyone, and thank you. Thank you for joining me today. But the biggest thanks is for your public service over especially this last year. I think that it's fair to say that it was a year from hell. The American people have been through so much. The loss of life in our country is staggering. All of the statistics over this last year were statistics that none of us could be proud of. But you have really held the line. You've stretched your budgets. And, you know, I was shaped by local government, serving on the San Mateo board for 10 years. So that's what really shaped me legislatively. This is the largest aid package in the history of our country. And I'd like you to think of it in the following way. It puts vaccines in the arms of the American people, obviously our mutual constituents. It will help to put children safely back into school. So there's a whole section of the bill that deals with school districts. It will put money in people's pockets, and that is the cash transfers, as well as a new round of federal unemployment benefits weekly, $300 a week. And it will help put people back to work. So those are really the pillars of the legislation, but this is really what you want to hear. I'm not going to talk so much about what is going to go directly to the state, but what I do want you to know is that it was a battle royal to get state and local government dollars. Our Republican colleagues fought this and fought it bitterly. We did pass 5 bipartisan COVID-related bills over the last year. There are many parts of this legislation that represent extensions of many of the things that we had in it. But we constantly lost the major piece on assistance to local government when the bills went over to the Senate last year. So we do have, the Democrats do have the majority. It's very narrow, but I think that we have optimized it. So let me talk about local government. First of all, the dollars are based on CDBG formulas, which considers population, poverty, and the age and density of the housing supply. And you're all familiar, obviously, with CDBG. Those were all 4 letters that meant a lot to me when I was on the Board of Supervisors. For schools, it's based on Title I formula. So that is the same as the CARES Act that we did last year and COVID relief packages that were passed in December. So you're familiar, the school folks are familiar with the calculations and how those dollars can be used. The dollars, very importantly, that are going to counties and cities are not, they're coming directly to you. Other formulas, the dollars have gone to the states scrape the cream off the top, and then you all have to look for the rest. This is different. It will go directly to you. So in San Mateo, the county of San Mateo is going to receive 148,672,113. So if you have your pads and pencils there, or if you want me to repeat any of the dollar amounts, I'd be happy to. The county of Santa Clara is going to receive 373 million. Let's just round it off. $374 million. The county of Santa Cruz, 52 million, let's say 53, round it off. It's 987,555. So those are the dollars that are going to go directly to counties. And I should have said off the top that joining us today are members of the boards of supervisors in our congressional district, city and county managers, mayors, city council persons, as well as chairs and members of school boards in our congressional district. Now, for the cities, Mountain View is going to receive $14,776,245. Palo Alto, 12 million. It's about $12,500,000. Redwood City, 18 million, almost 19 million, just shy of $19 million. The city of San Jose, whopping check, $223 million. Now, I have the rest of the cities. Atherton, 1,343,000. Menlo Park, 6,531,000. Portola Valley, 859, almost 860,000. Woodside, 1,027,000. Campbell, $7,866,000. Los Altos, 5,641,500. Los Altos Hills, 1,585,500. Los Gatos, $5 million and some loose change. Montessorino, 645,000. Saratoga, 5.6, almost $5.7 million. Scotts Valley, 2.2 and some loose change. Now, I told you about the formulas and what they are based on, and I just want to touch on some of the other parts of the new law. I mentioned that there will be cash transfers, assistance to individuals and families. There will be the provision of $1,400 checks to individuals earning up to $75,000 a year. Now, for my colleagues that come from other parts of the country, that is a very, very high amount, but we have a very high cost of living here. So those of us that come from high cost of living areas really fought hard to have this amount. It phases out entirely at 80,000, and so it's $1,400 per adult. So if it's a married couple, it would be double that, and there also is $1,400 for each dependent. So depending on the size of the family, you go from there. It provides an additional, as I mentioned a moment ago, an additional $300 a week for federal unemployment insurance. So that's on top of the base of whatever a state pays. And very importantly, and I did legislation on this, to exempt up to $10,200 in unemployment benefits that were received last year so that there will not be any federal income tax on that. You know, if people get a whopping bill in the condition that they're in, we thought that it would really be unfair. So I'm very pleased that that was included in this. It makes health insurance more affordable for people who've lost their jobs. It subsidizes 100% of the cost of premiums for COBRA. So those with private sector jobs, COBRA is there. COBRA has always been rather expensive though. And so it subsidizes that 100% continuation coverage for those who have been laid off or reduced hours beginning on April 1st of this year. And that extends through the end of September of this year. We increased private health insurance subsidies for people who earn less than 400% of the federal poverty level. And it expands, as I said, and subsidizes more, adding 2 to 3 million more people being insured. I have more details on that, but I'm not going to go into them because I want to really have more of a conversation with you and be able to take your questions. It also prevents taxpayers who misestimated their income in 2020. The many constituents reported that they were upset about it, what is going to happen, because all of this is based on the checks, the cash transfers that go out are based on the 2019 tax returns. And if people have filed their 2020, it's based on that. So it really prevents them from having to repay. This is on the health insurance premium tax credits at tax time. So it deals, we dealt with food assistance. We know how many, you all know this better than anyone, the numbers of people that have lined up for food assistance. Imagine people being hungry, children being hungry. $22.5 billion, that's with a B, in rental assistance. $10 billion homeowner assistance, that's for people obviously with their mortgages, and $5 billion to help low-income households with their utility bills. Obviously, any questions that you or our mutual constituents have about any part of the bill, they can call our office on it. Vaccines. I would say number one, what allows me to sleep a little better is that the new administration has something, and that is they have a plan. They have a plan. And so there is at least $20 billion in this new law for more vaccines. You know that the vaccines are free, and the more dosages that can be manufactured, the more vaccines there are going to be going, people are going to be vaccinated. So that is, I would say, my friends, that we have to crush the virus. We have to crush the virus in order to have our economy rebound. And all the sections of this bill for our mutual constituents is to have an economic bridge for them so that as we crush the virus, they can hold on. No one is going to become wealthy in this. For the counties and for local government, the reason we fought so hard for this is you have to turn in balanced budgets. You have expended tremendous sums of money to establish what you saw fit to be the best programs to assist people. They varied by city. The county has done so much. The cities and towns have. So we wanted to replenish, not only replenish those dollars, but to make sure that the essential workers, mental health workers, social workers, law enforcement, all of the first responders, teachers, all of the people that the public sector is responsible for, that those jobs would not be lost, people would not be laid off, but also to replenish the dollars that you expended out of your budgets. So I have to tell you that I was excited. I was trying to fall asleep the night before, anticipating taking this vote. We have literally worked around the clock since December to not only shape the language of the bill with the new incoming administration, but also practically around the clock because there are many committees of jurisdiction. It's a long, winding road to get legislation done. So I think in 50 days, we have been able to accomplish this. This is for the American people. I have a lot of hope in my heart about all of this. And the last thing that I'll add before I go to your questions, comments, is that economists across the board, that the leadership called in to meet with us so that we could ask them questions after they had thoroughly reviewed the legislation, to a person said, recommended to the Congress that we go big. You all remember when President Obama first took office, we were in, to say that it was a recession, I think is putting a light touch on it. And at that time, we appropriated something like $790 million. It lasted longer. It hurt people more because we didn't go bigger. And so the leadership and members said, this is what we believe we should do. The economists, Mark Zandi from Moody's, many of them, I can't remember all of their names off the top of my head, did advise us to go big. Janet Yellen, who at that time was not the treasurer of the United States, but of course she served as the chair of the Federal Reserve Board. So I wanted to add that too to my comment. So I have, I didn't give the school districts their amounts. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to do that. I'll do it as quickly as I can. Palo Alto Unified School District, 2,483,000. Mountain View Los Altos High School District, 1,045,000. Mountain View Wisman Elementary School District, 2,483,000. Los Altos, 740,000. Sunnyvale School District, 3,567,000. The Fremont Union High School District, 2,629,000. Loma Prieta Joint Union School District, 96,000. Los Gatos Union School District, 449,000. Saratoga, 409,000. Cambrian School District, $692,000. Campbell Unified Districts, 7,834,000. Luther Burbank School District, 645,000. Moreland School District, 3,982,000. Campbell Union High School District, $4,854,000. Union School District, $1,014,000. San Jose Unified, $30,030,000. San Lorenzo Unified School District, 15,676,000. Scotts Valley School District, 1,744,000. Bonnie Doon Elementary, 292,000. Las Lomitas, 308,000. Ravenswood City School District, 7,131,000. That's a very poor district, so this is a huge amount for them. Redwood City School District, 10,930,000. Woodside, 76,000, and the Sequoia Union High School District, that's in San Mateo County, $746,000. So this is these are really significant funds. There are other parts of the legislation that deal with assistance to small businesses. We all know they've been hammered in this. No matter what community you go into, it's just so sad with windows boarded up and padlocks on the doors and all of that. So that's the quickest overview I can give you in terms of dollar amounts. Again, I want to thank you for your exceptional public service. We've all been tested. We've all been tested every single day. I follow everything that you do and all of the newspaper clips every night before I go to bed. After I do all my office work, then I read all the local clips, so I know what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're debating. And I know it hasn't been easy, but I'm really proud. I'm proud of what you've been able to do for our mutual constituents. And to the county managers and the city managers, I know what your jobs are. I know what your jobs are, and you've had to do an awful lot of juggling. The elected officials know firsthand what the needs of the constituents are, and all we want to do is just keep helping. But you're the ones that have to rein things in and move money around and all of that. So thank you for your service. And of course, the school boards, I always say anyone that serves on a school board should be canonized. You can tell I'm Catholic by using that term. And you have had very, very tough decisions to make. It's like cutting a baby in half. But the speeding up of the vaccines and getting them into the arms of our mutual constituents is, and we have to stay ahead of these variants. So I have, I think you know that I chair the health subcommittee in the House. We have jurisdiction over the FDA, over the NIH, the CDC, all of HHS. So I have front row seat to what these agencies are doing, those that are in charge, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Francis Collins, Dr. Walensky at CDC. We have competence now. We have competent people that are thoroughbred professionals. And these are not political decisions, these are policy decisions. And more than anything else, I'm so thrilled that we were able to get this over the line, and that cities and counties will not have to sit at the edge of the table waiting to see what crumbs are going to fall into their laps from the state. The state of California is going to receive significant funding. It's in the billions. It's in the billions. I don't know. Do I have it here? Do I have it here, Matt? Am I? Well, it's on some sheet of paper here, but we don't. Today is your day. And I hope that this is instructive and helpful to you. I know that you are going to make superb use of these funds. Now, the funds are going to be, I think I need help from my staff because I don't remember exactly the distribution, the dates. I know that I believe that half of the funds will be coming to you in this calendar year, and the other half in the next calendar year. Is that correct, Matt
Eric, you want to jump in on this?
or Eric?
Yes, that's correct. Half the funds will come this year and then half the funds 1 year later.
Okay, great. All right, so I think we need to give instructions to our guests. Do they raise their virtual hand to ask questions or make comments?
Yes, if you'd like to ask a question or make a comment, please raise your hand and then you'll have to unmute yourself.
Okay, so we're ready for questions.
So first we'll go to Jen Willowson.
Hi, good afternoon, Congresswoman Eshoo. It's Jen Wallison.
Hi, Jen. Yes, thank you. Thank
Council
you.
member in Menlo Park.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Thank you for representing me. Thank you for representing me.
Likewise, really appreciate all of the work you've been doing at the federal level. 2 quick questions. What will the restrictions be on the funds? What can cities use them for? And then secondly, you went through a lot of school districts. The one I didn't hear was the Menlo Park City School District. So I'm not sure if that was on your list.
Okay.
But thank you again.
Yeah. Eric, help me with this in terms of the specifics of the cities and the, well, let's put it this way. What strings are attached?
Yes, so there are very broad uses that they can be used for. Anything to respond to the coronavirus pandemic public health emergency or the associated economic impacts. And the funding can also be used to replace lost revenue. And so if you have a revenue loss that you use to fund general city services, then you can replace up to the amount that you lost in the year before the pandemic. And we expect that the Treasury Department will put out guidance and additional regulations to spell out the specifics because Congress made the law intentionally fairly broad.
We did. Jen, you should know that we had many members that had all kinds of specifics that they wanted to add to this. And there were some of us that really pushed back on that because it just becomes too darn complicated. I think the broader it is, you all have good judgment. You have your professional staff and all of that giving you professional advice. So I think the way it's shaped is it's going to be even more helpful because it doesn't have a lot of strings attached to it. I don't see Menlo Park on my list. Does my staff have that?
Yes, so Menlo Park is will not get any money.
Menlo Park doesn't get any money. Now that again is based on Title I formula, Jen. So that's why I guess I should have called out the zeros, but as I was talking about all that money, it's tough to say zero.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you for your wonderful public service. Next.
Next, we'll go to Matthew with the City of San Jose and Airport.
Thank you
Hi,
so much.
Matthew.
Hello, thank you so much for all your work. We truly appreciate it. We just wanted to confirm one thing, that for mixed status couples, it seems to be that this round they would be eligible for checks if they have a spouse that is a citizen or lawful permanent resident or a child that is permanent. So we just wanted to confirm that that's our understanding.
Yes, that is so. Did you want information about airports?
Thank you so much. I have the information, but we
Okay,
truly
great.
appreciate it.
And if there's anything that comes up after this, let us know, and we'll if we don't have it off the top of our heads, we'll get it for you. All right.
No, Eric's been wonderful. We truly appreciate that.
He is wonderful. I always like people that know more than I do working with me. It's a good sign.
Next, we'll go to the mayor of Saratoga.
Great.
Hi, Congresswoman.
Hi,
and
Jan. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for the work you do. And I want to thank you for your strong support to our local government, especially during this difficulty times.
Yes, yes.
So this fund from the American Rescue Plan will definitely help us close the revenue gap for the last year, as well as for the next 5 to 7 years. So this is so crucial, and will help us to enable us not to cut back on the critical services and the much needed infrastructure, improvement in our city. So I on behalf of the City Council and the Saratoga community, I would like to thank you so much for your support and for your great work.
Thank you, Jan. It's music to my ears to hear local government elected officials describe what it's going to do for their community. And it's, as I said, it's really been it's been a tough year, but I think the good news is that our democracy prevailed, even though there were those that attacked it. We have an administration that does have a plan to crush this virus, rebuild our economy, and to help the American people get through this. This is what has happened to them is through no fault of their own. It is because of the virus. So it's a robust package. I want to see you all be able to flourish and do the work that you ran for office to do. There's nothing more gratifying than that. So thank you, Jan, and my best to all of the City Council.
Thank you so much.
I love each one of these communities. Next one.
Next, we'll go to Carrie from the Pacific School.
Yes.
Hi, good
Carrie.
afternoon, Congresswoman Eshoo. Thank you for the time and opportunity to
Sure.
to speak from one of the zeros, from probably your poorest school district, and because of the arcane and labyrinth and incomprehensible rules around Title I, Pacific School has not received any funding and gets overlooked and left out every single time. So I think that our superintendent principal has been in touch with your staff, but I really wanted to plead with you to advocate for us, with the pandemic, wildfires, debris flow risk. We've been through our share.
Just layers
yeah.
of disasters.
So
Carrie,
we really need the funding.
Carrie, why is that the case though?
I can explain it to you.
Based on the Title I formula, and
yeah.
Well,
it's my understanding is that it's so complicated between the census and the way things are counted, and because we're so small that we fall just under the limits, even though we really do have, the families that need the support, and certainly the district needs the support. So
the families are going to be getting the cash transfers, and
the school.
That's really going to give them a boost. It really is going to give them a boost that they'll feel. And what we all need to keep in mind, we all know this, but it's worth underscoring it, that when average people have money in their pocket, they spend it. They spend it in the community.
Right.
And
well,
so,
I'm really here to speak on behalf of the school and the school's budget.
Yes.
And
I
that's
understand.
Really
I understand. Yeah. Okay.
So
I really want to know more about why you're left out when you really should be in, and see if there is something that we can do with this formula, because it's really unfair. Wonderful. It's unfair. It's not working for you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being part of this today.
Yeah, thank you.
Next.
Just a reminder, if you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand. At this time, we do not have any further questions. Oh, here's one. Let's go to Mike Hefner.
Hi, Mike.
Mike Hefner, I'm the superintendent in Bonnie Doon Union Elementary School
Uh-huh.
District. Just for clarity, my colleague from Pacific School, they are not a Title I school district, and they are the least funded school district in Santa Cruz County and likely in your area. And any support, I'll advocate for the students and staff there. My
Thank you for that,
question,
Mike.
my question for you is, as a single school district, I'm very excited by the influx of funding. And I wonder about the timeline and flexibility on the timeline. Unlike a large district that can bring together a massive team and allocate a strategic plan to allocate those funds, I'm the sole administrator and everyone else on campus is a teacher or a part-time support staff member. And the burden to rush to spend sometimes doesn't lead to strategic spending, and just wondering about any flexibilities that might be available in that timeline.
Well, yeah, so the flexibilities that you're asking about is what? When you will receive the dollars?
When they have to be expended.
Oh, I see. I see. I think by the end of next year.
Okay.
So you have time.
Okay. Thank you.
You have time. You have time. And God willing, it'll be, you know, a different picture than even where we are now with the virus. We're making headway, but we're not out of the woods.
Absolutely. Well, thank you.
Stay healthy. We need you.
We're trying.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm not seeing any further requests for questions with the exception of press. So we can go to
Let's just
press
make sure no other questions or comments from anyone. Critique. I think I heard where there are, you've shared with me where the kinks are, especially in the with Title I.
Next, we'll actually go to Sally Meadows from
Okay, hi Sally.
Good afternoon, Congresswoman Eshoo. Thank you so much for spending part of your Friday afternoon with us and everything that you've accomplished. This is very exciting. My question is related to this, but could be somewhat tangential. So if you say can't address it, that's fine. So we talked about the boost in providing more vaccines, and right now supply is the bottleneck. So we have more arms than vaccines.
Exactly.
Hopefully we'll get to the point where we have enough vaccines for the arms. But right now, as you're probably aware in the state, there's a bit of a dilemma or a pushback from some of the local counties against the state of California middleman, the Blue Shield taking over administration. Do you have any perspectives on you know, how the increased vaccines will come in, how that that process will work, or what do you think is the most efficient way for us to vaccinate?
Well, it's an important question, Sally. We are doing everything we can to boost the dosages that go out to the states. The states are then responsible for execution. And the states, understandably, have had a rather tough time because there's an allocation for each state, and they set up appointments and the centers, the places where people you know, are to go to get their vaccinations, and then the state revises the number because the number is below what they were told they were going to get. So it's a difficult and it's been choppy and a lot of frustrations. So I did listen to the president last night, and when I flew in, I think it was a repeat because it was real late at night. But the administration's goal is to have enough vaccines for every single American by the end of May. I can't give you the innards of what's going on with the state. I probably know, what you just described. And I think that at the federal level, I mean, honestly, this is all we live and breathe and talk about are the number of vaccines and upping the manufacturing. Now, with the J&J drug coming on, being approved, given the EUA, emergency use authorization by the FDA, they had a paltry number of doses, 2 million. 2 million is nothing. But what the administration did, I think very wisely, was to negotiate with Merck, which is obviously a very large drug company. They have huge manufacturing capacity. And so they are going to, and they're competitors with J&J, and yet they agreed that they would manufacture. So the good news is that there's going to be more and more dosages going to states. I hope that California becomes that the execution is a lot smoother and understandable for people, because right now, I mean, we're inundated with questions and complaints from constituents about what they need, what they can't get, appointments, places. We always help. We call the county. The counties have been terrific in terms of what they're doing. But I think the states are going to have, would have a much tougher time if we didn't constantly make sure that there are more dosages going out all over the country, whether it's rural, suburban, underserved areas, tribal communities, all of that. So, Sally, I can't, I'm not in charge of what the state is doing. And I know that the governor put Blue Shield in charge. My question to Blue Shield when I called them, because I wanted to understand better exactly what they were going to do and how they were going to do it. They've never been a distributor. So they're new at this.
What a time to learn, right?
I know. Truth be known, we're all learning.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
I think, on the scientific medical side, there's a reason it's called the novel coronavirus, because every day, we're learning more. And this is the most massive program that's ever had to be set up, public health program in the history of our country. So hopefully with each day here at home in California, that it's going to be smoother, clearer, easier for people. I just want to make sure that that supply is a robust one, because when you don't have ample supply, it just adds layers and layers of headaches for everyone. So it's not. I wish I could give you a better answer about the state, but we're dealing with the shortcomings that the state has in terms of constituents, probably like you are. So,
Thank you.
mhm.
At this time, I'm not seeing any further questions other than press.
Okay, if you all would like to stay on, maybe the press would like to ask you a question. But if you wish to excuse yourself, I don't want you to think that you're hurting my feelings. I'm very, very grateful to you for making time today. I know how busy you are, and it's all of our work collectively has, I think it's fair to say, has been 24/7 for a year. And in normal times, we're always busy. Our hands are full, but it's so thank you. Bravo to all of you. And I know that you're going to make exceptional use of these resources. They were hard fought for. I have to tell you that. Again, state and local governments, my Republican pals, I don't know why, I never could figure it out, but they would practically shake when they talked about it. That's how deep their opposition was to it. So the House always had it in their bill. When we sent it over to the Senate, the 5 bills we did last year, 2020, they took out cities, counties, states. Now it's done. So thank you to all of you. I couldn't mean it more. I think you can hear it in my voice. I keep using the same words, but I just want to emphasize that I'm proud of you. I'm proud to serve with you. I'm grateful for your terrific service, and that that we're all partners in this. We're all partners in this, and the people that win are our mutual constituents. They don't care what party we're registered in or any of that. They just want us to work together to get the job done for them. And they deserve that. So thank you to all of you. Please stay healthy, and keep reminding our mutual constituents that even though we have the vaccines, thank God, this is the miracle of the science and the scientists, that we still have to wash our hands frequently, wear masks, and keep up the distancing. They're the easiest things to do. So go forward in a healthy, wonderful way. Stay healthy. We need you. We all need you. Thank you. All right, let's see what our friends from the press would like to ask.
So we'll first go to Rachel Goodman with KSQD.
Hi, Congresswoman Eshoo. Thank you so much for spending time with us. We really appreciate it.
Sure.
I had kind of a two-part question. One is, I know you tried to keep the minimum wage in the bill and it got taken out because of the parliamentarian rules. So that kind of brings me to a procedural, what's next and how do we get the filibuster to go away so Biden's agenda can happen? So those are kind of a two-parter.
Well, first on the minimum wage, of course we were disappointed. Of course, we had it in the House legislation, and you aptly described what happened. The parliamentarian ruled, because we did this legislation under a term, and I'm not going to go into it because it's so boring and long and complicated, under reconciliation. And there are certain rules that apply to that process where it's by a simple majority. And so the parliamentarian of the Senate ruled that minimum wage could not be part of this package. I know that there's been a big fuss over it. I understand. I mean, when you know what wage is not talked about very often, people that work for tips, it's $2 and some odd cents an hour in the second decade of the 21st century. So we will take up a freestanding bill and resolve this. I mean, we are committed to increasing the minimum wage. And, you know, for those that say, you know, the economy can't sustain it, businesses, especially the small businesses, this is not hiking the minimum wage, doubling it all at once. It increases incrementally over, I believe, 5 years. And then after that, our legislation ties it to inflation. So, so that it would keep, you know, that those wages actually still mean something to working people. On the filibuster, I think the filibuster is, let's put it this way, I've never really quite understood the rules and in the Senate. This is something that the House operates under its own set of rules. Many of the rules were written by Thomas Jefferson. The filibuster itself is not in the Constitution. There has never been any legislation that has made it statutory. Only Congress can write statutes. It's simply a rule of the Senate. And so it's up to the senators to change that. I don't, my sensibilities are that it won't be dropped, but I think that there are more than a handful of senators from both sides of the aisle that are talking about reforming it. But it is absurd. It is absurd to hold the American people back. They actually are hurt by this filibuster because the minority then ends up holding everything hostage. We go by majority in our country. So that's where it is right now. I can't tell you with any, definitively exactly what they're going to do. But I've gotten constituent mail saying, change it, So in fact, I read many letters from constituents last evening, and they were all saying the same thing. So I had to break their hearts and tell them that I'm not in charge of it. If I were, I would. But they should write to both of our senators too. Let them know how they feel about it. So minimum wage, we will take up a bill and do it and get it done. It should be. This has not increased since 2006. 2006 to me doesn't seem that long ago, but it was. And I would just add one more thing. 60% of minimum wage workers in this country are women. So this would really transform, it'd be transformative for them. Thank you, Rachel.
At this time, there are no further requests for questions.
Okay. Well, I hope we've covered the bases well, both for the press and for all of my my colleagues. And again, thank you to everyone for spending time with me today. I hope it's been instructive and helpful. And I think that this is, we've talked an awful lot about vaccinations. I think this is a real vitamin B shot for the United States of America. Oh, I see Mary Lynn. Hi, Mary Lynn. How are you? It's wonderful to see you, my friend.
Thank you, and thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. You're wonderful. Thank you, everyone. I want to thank my staff. They worked hard to pull all of this together in a short period of time. They heard me running around the office saying, you need to bring everyone together when I get home. When? Next week? I said, no, on Friday. So we did it, and I thank you all. And stay healthy. Stay healthy. And God bless each one of you. God bless our beautiful country. Thank you.